Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a New Year book tag. I was tagged by my friend Charlie over at Charles Heathcote and also my housemate Lizzie Frost. They both have their channels with their names. I didn't realise that before, but yeah, Lizzie Frost, and I'll link both their channels down below for you to check out. This tag video's got 6 questions, but I wanted to combine it a bit with my kind of 2017 reflections and 2018 goals. Anyway, going into the tag, question 1 is how many books are you planning to read in 2018? And I'm going to do the same thing that I did last year and set it at 52 books. And this is because I don't want the number of books I read to be my goal. I don't want that to be my focus, and I don't want it to be something I really think about through the year, because I think the number of books that I read is not as important as the content of the books I read. The number is just it's quite superficial, I think. It doesn't matter how many books I read, so long as I enjoy what I'm reading or I'm learning and things like that. So that's what's most important to me. Question 2 is name 5 books you didn't get to last year but want to make a priority in 2018. First one is The Explorer by Katherine Rundell. This one has just won the Costa Awards for the Children's Fiction Prize, and I love Katherine Rundell. I've loved every one of her books, so I need to read this and I need to read it soon. It's about some kids who crash land in the Amazon rainforest and have to survive, and that just sounds amazing. And I think I picked it up originally because it gave me the kind of vibes of Journey to a River Sea by Ava Ibbotson, and that's one of my favourite children's books as a child and one I would actually like to reread. I'm so excited for this book. The next one is more of an author than a specific book, but I've heard a lot about Sara and I have 3 of her books that appeal to me. She's a historical fiction writer. Several of her books are set during World War II, so that's just me all over really. I've heard a lot of things, but all of these books are quite humongous. So I've been collecting them from charity shops and then just not reading them. So I think I should just get over that and read them. Yes, that is one thing that I'm determined to do this year, is to stop being so annoyingly afraid of giant books, because I really love them when I'm in them. I think it's just the starting the books that is the problem. Like, I am 100% sure I will love Robin Hobb's books if only I would start them. It's a really big problem and I need to just stop, and I think 2018 is the year to stop being paranoid about big books. The next one is one I've been avoiding for a long time simply because its cover is horrendous, and that is The Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sara Barnard. And this book is definitely not my normal kind of book for glaringly obvious cover reasons. But one of the main characters in this book is deaf, and that is the reason I want to read it, because something I haven't really talked about on this channel, I don't think, is that I work in a deaf school and I'm currently sort of acting librarian. It's a very loose term at the moment, but basically what I'm doing is making a massive mess of the library. There is a system, but it's just been not really... The library's not been cared for a good 6 years or more. Almost all the books are a good 30 years old or more. We have atlases that still have East and West Germany in them, so it's basically I'm doing a massive audit of the library to try and find out what the gaps are, what we don't have, what's out of date and what we need. And I think what we definitely need is more books with deaf characters. There are no books with deaf characters in a school full of deaf children, and I think that's pretty awful. So I've been creating a massive list of all the books I know with deaf characters or written by deaf authors, and I would really love to read as many of those as possible myself, as well as suggesting them that we get them for our library at school. So this book I already own and I should just read it. It's got a lot of really great reviews. It's actually been on several people's favourite books of the year lists as well, so there's no reason why I shouldn't, I don't think I'd like it. It's just this cover putting me. So my goals last year, they were more based on what I'd not done the year before. So it was read more translated fiction than last year, read more poetry than last year, read more non-fiction than last year. and that worked for everything except for translated fiction. So last year I only read one translated book, and it was right at the beginning of the year, so nearly a year ago now, and I think that's pretty awful, especially when I actually have books that are translated and I've got no excuse not to read them. I haven't read any of these books and I've had them for quite a long time. I think one of the things that I've done in the past is I've always been very free with what I want to read. I think the times in my life where I haven't read have been because I've had pressures in reading. So while I was at college, while I was at university, I had specific reading lists where I had to read certain things. I restricted my own personal reading to read those things. And so since finishing university, I've just wanted to read whatever strikes my fancy, and I've not prescribed myself to certain books. Whereas now I think that actually I should be doing that a bit more, even though the variety that I read is quite variable. Like, I read lots of different genres, but I don't read different age of books, I don't read translated fiction, and I need to do that more. So that's one of my goals this year, is to read more of these books and other books. So that's one of my goals for genre this year, even though I'm not sure that translated fiction is a genre. It's like, but that's a group of books that I want to read more of. Question 4 is, what's a book you've had forever and still need to read? And that one I've chosen is Faire by Levene. And I bought this like years ago. I think I bought it when it first came out because look at that cover, it's just stunning and it's shiny and it sounds really, really cool, and just like it's about a moving carnival and like just really fun. It sounds really fun and dark, and there's like magic and all sorts of stuff. So right in my street. And I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I should just, yeah, I might read that very, very soon. Yes. Question 5 is, name 3 non-book related goals for 2018. And this is the part where I actually want to talk about like all my actual goals. I've got 2 bits of paper. So I do have some like booktube reading goals as well as non-reading goals. So if I'm totally ruining this tag, I'm sorry Charlie and Lizzie. So my reading goals this year, I know this isn't part of the question, but my reading goals this year are actually to start writing reviews again, because when I first started my booktube channel, I did actually do a few reviews of books and I found it really difficult. I'd already been writing reviews for several years by this point, so I thought I could totally handle it. But when it came to talking about books in more detail and in more length, I found I just got myself muddled up and I would repeat the same things, and I just felt like it was a very poor video, so I just stopped. And I really want to do that again, but I feel like actually writing the review first really helps. So and I basically stopped writing reviews when I started doing booktube. So my last blog post on my blog was literally last year when I first started booktube. So my plan this year is to resurrect that blog and to write some more reviews. So my other goals are to read more translated fiction, to read big books, to read more non-fiction than last year. So I read 6 non-fiction books last year, and I think the actual read more than last year thing actually worked really well for that, so I'm gonna go with that again. This one's more of a booktubey one. I want to be making at least 1 video a week for booktube. I've not been very good at being regular, so I want to be more regular. But going back to the actual question of this tag was what 3 non-book related goals you have for what are 3 non-book related goals for 2018? I'd like to draw at least once a week, and hopefully maybe develop that into like once every couple days, because I think as great as the recommendation that you draw every day, that's actually quite difficult for me. So I would like to at least work up to that and maybe one day actually be drawing every day. I would like to start driving lessons. I'm 25 and I feel like that's the thing I need to be doing like now, because I'm so sick of relying on other people for lifts, and the trains are a nightmare. As much as I love my commute, it's just really people and noise, and sometimes you can't get a seat and just waiting at train stations in the rain, and I'm just like, no, I want to learn to drive and have my car, and yay. I would also like to write 50,000 words over the course of the year. Last year and the year before were pretty abysmal for my writing. I think last year I spent a lot more time planning and going over my novel. I've been writing this novel since I started university, and now looking back over it, I can see a lot of my kind of juvenile mistakes in the kind of overall plotting, certain characters. I use a lot of tropes and things like that. So I've been unpicking all these things all year and trying to do extra research in like certain areas, and I just, yeah, I really want to actually get into the writing now and actually start making those changes that I want to do in my novel and making them real, because they're all in my head at the moment, and every time I look at my novel and I go, oh, but none of it's changed and it's all awful and oh, I don't know where to begin, but I do know where to begin because it's all in my head and I just need to get it on paper. So yeah, I feel a bit more positive about writing at the moment, so it might be a good time to actually get started. Like, New Year's always good for that kind of thing, so motivation hopefully will appear. Question 6 is one word that you're hoping 2018 will be, and that for me I think is productive. Yeah, I want to be making things, I want to be making art, I want to be making writing. I would like to get back into poetry. I did one of Jen Campbell's writing workshops for poetry in November, and it was really helpful, and I've been going over a lot in my head about poetry and where I stand with it and what I'd like to be doing with it. And yeah, so I want to be developing that a bit more and going back more into poetry as well. So I have a lot of things to do this year. I would also like to start climbing, because I think that really kind of, I love climbing, and I only stopped because I had an accident and time became a bit of an issue. So now, like, it's been 2 years since that accident, I think my knee will be fine. So that was my New Year book tag, and also like my goals, and oh, I missed out the reflections bit, oops. And I just want to say that I've really enjoyed being part of BookTube this year. This was my first year in BookTube, and it was just, it's been amazing. It's been so lovely to talk with so many of you and talk in the comments and watch other people's videos and have conversations with them, and I feel like I'm getting to know some people a bit, and that's really wonderful. And I'm still amazed that so many people want to watch me. I think right now I've got nearly 200 subscribers, which is just mind-blowing to me. I think I remember making a video when I had about like 50 and being a bit like, this is too scary, and like I couldn't even, I still can't share my videos on my Facebook, but like I don't know, there's something, I like the kind of, I don't know what I'm saying, but really just thank you so much for watching. If you've been with me from the beginning, if you've only just become a subscriber, like, I really appreciate all the support I get, even if I'm a little bit terrified of it, and it's fantastic, and I really hope to have a fantastic 2018 with you guys. So thank you for watching. Goodbye. What made the noise? What are 3 book? No. What are not?